Hello and welcome back to the Stationary Dev, and welcome back to yet another fountain pen ink review. This is a new ink to me that I purchased kind of toward the end of 2024 when as I was kind of looking to fill some gaps in my ink collection. So similar to my search for a straight down the middle red ink, I also was looking for a straight down the middle green ink, one that doesn't lean too teal or too blue or too yellow or too brown or anything like that. Just a straight up green ink, which is really actually pretty hard to do considering all the shades that are out there and all the inks and stuff. It's hard to just find a straight up green ink. Before I go any further, you've probably noticed I have a new Deskmat that's a lot nicer than the previous one I had. It's leather, but it's a little bit more reflective. So we'll see how that goes and how I like that. I might have to put something that's a little less reflected up here, or it just might work. So who knows? And I'll probably give a shout out to this brand of Deskmat. Maybe in another video, maybe its own review, who knows, we'll see. Or I'll just mention it in one of the videos to give them kind of a shout out, because I do really like this Deskmat so far. I've been really impressed. But that's not what we're reviewing. We're reviewing this. This is Taccia ink, Taccia Midori ink. It's kind of confusing because it's Japanese ink, but it says it's born in California. But it is made in Japan. You can see there. Nakabayashi. So it is Japanese ink maker. They make pens as well. Their pens use Sailor nibs, so I don't know if their ink is also produced by Sailor, or if I know Taccia and the what's that guitar brand, Teranashi Guitar or something like that, they use the same ink manufacturer. It might be Sailor, it might be just one that's shared by these two brands. But this was the ink that I landed on after a long search, and it is just Taccia Midori. And Midori just literally means green in Japanese. And I kind of like the box. It's simple, 40 milliliter bottle of ink. And the bottles are kind of reminiscent to kind of like a Sailor bottle. If you remember like the old Sailor squat bottles, it has a very similar feel to one of those. But it's a cute little 40 milliliter. It's a little bit more squished in, which actually I think kind of helps it. You'll be able to get a couple more nibs in there and stuff. But very simple packaging, just says Taccia fountain pen ink, born in California, Nakabayashi, 40 milliliters. And then one thing that I do appreciate that they do is they put a little sticker on top that says the name of the ink and it's the color of the ink. So you know if you just have a drawer full of ink bottles that you just kind of stack all in the drawer, you know immediately what this ink is and what color it is. And that's a pretty decent representation of the actual ink color. I think the actual inks may be a little bit darker than that. So let's get into it. Let's see what this thing looks like. I've been really impressed by this Taccia ink. Taccia's always been, this is my first Taccia ink, by the way. And I've been really impressed with it, but I've always been interested in their inks. They have some really great browns. They got a really nice red. They have that artist series that they do with things like Sabi Midori and other colors and stuff that are on my list to try. And so, so far so good. I've been really impressed with this ink, spoiler alert. Before we get too deep, I'm going to go ahead and do a swatch on some Tomoe River paper. This is just my sort of Taroko, Enigma, not Taroko Enigma, Taroko, just a little small Tomoe River paper kaye kind of thing. This will be my green page, because I'm trying to keep a little bit better log of the inks that I have. There's no, at least as far as I remember, yeah, there's no like inkwell or anything inside there to make things complicated. And it's a nice wide mouth, so even though it's kind of shallow, I think you'd be able to get most all of your pens in there. Very wet ink from me using it so far. Very wet, which is nice. Very smooth, free-flowing ink. does good in the pen, doesn't dry out in the pen or anything like that. I'm going to get one more little one, make a quick swatch on some Rhodia paper, just so we can see that. In a minute, I'm going to close this up so we don't have problems. Get that out of the way. I inked this up in my Pilot Decimo. And it's been a really good combination. It's sort of been my Christmas combination. So red pen with green ink has sort of been my Christmassy, everyday carry kind of pen. And it's done well, even in this extra fine vanishing point nib. It's done very well. So this is Taccia Midori Green. Like I said, very smooth, especially in this extra fine pen, which can be a little feedbacky, little needly. But you can see there's not a ton. There's a little bit of shading you get out of it, but it's pretty much just straight down the middle. You know, when it gets lighter, it doesn't lean teal, it doesn't lean blue, it doesn't lean yellow. It's just green all the way from one end to the other. It's just really saturated, a little bit less saturated, but just a green ink. So we're going to let that dry while we do a quick writing sample on our sort of standard 80 GSM Rhodia paper. We have here the Taccia Midori. I'm not going to write green again because that'd be saying Taccia Green. Like I said, very free-flowing, very wet, even in a super needly kind of extra fine nib. We'll do a smear test there. You can see it puts down plenty of ink, flows very well, very wet, nicely lubricated. Let me do a quick writing sample. Okay, and like I said, keeps up. I haven't had it dry out or get dry at all in this pen, or hard start or anything like that at all. It just is a good ink, keeps writing. Do a close-up shot of all that. So like I said, even in the smear, it doesn't go teal or doesn't lighten or anything. It just keeps its greenness. Hopefully, it looks no, that's pretty accurate. And what you're seeing there, it's kind of a darker green, but right down the middle green. So it's great businessy green. I've used this at work. Like I said, this is in my kind of everyday writer, everyday writer pen. I've been using this as sort of my daily driver, and it's a good office color green. That's nice, easy to read. Not that weird green that like ballpoint ink gets. It's like an actual green color. Like I said, not much shading, as you can see in the swatch as well. Just a good straight up green. No bleed through or anything like that, except in the swatch, of course. But just good, well-behaved ink that I've been impressed with so far. Let me do, I do have it. Here's another quick sample on, this is Mitsubishi Bank paper. You can see it shows a little bit brighter on the Mitsubishi Bank paper there, but pretty much what you see on the Rhodia, just a well performing. You can see a little bit of shading kind of there, where a little bit more of the green comes out, and it's not as dark, but yeah, still plenty wet and everything there. Let's look. And like I said, this is kind of filling a gap in my collection. In my ink collection, I didn't have just a green, so I was looking at it. I did have California Teal, which I consider kind of a greeny teal, but very much a sheeny ink there, kind of a higher maintenance ink. Verdant Lentide is kind of a unsaturated bluey green gray. This is the Taccia Midori, which looks a lot brighter on this kind of cardstock paper. But you can see the wetter side there, but it's just a straight green. It doesn't turn a different color. There it is compared to Diamine Meadow, which is a yellow green. And so you can see the difference between a yellow green and a teal green back here with the California teal. And so it really fits that spot that I was looking for. Let me see if I have anything else. Matcha, Alt Gold Green, Shirakashi. Here's some like darker kind of spinachy greens, Sailor Gentle Epinard and Monteverde Olivine, that have that sort of yellowy, brownish kind of tint to them. And so once again, I didn't have an ink like this in my collection. I was using it to fill that, just if I'm just want a straight up green ink, I want to go to for that. And this one's actually perfect for it. So it's once again fulfilled my expectations. It's been great performing in the pen that I've used it in, and on all the papers and sticky notes and notebooks and stuff at work that I use. It's done well. And so the 40 milliliters, I'll be working through it. It'll sort of just be my go-to, just no-brainer green ink. I think let's take one final look at the Somalia River. It's still drying, but we can get a look at it a little bit better. You see maybe a hint of shading in the writing there at the top. You can see when it goes down a little bit lighter, it's still just straight green, which I like. If it goes down a little bit wetter, it's still straight green, but it kind of has a little bit of blackness, a little darkness to it. Maybe that'll start to show a little bit of black sheen on the edge there, but that is like if you're really laying it down. I don't think you'll probably get there in like normal use. But yeah, really impressed with the Taccia Midori ink. It's been really, really good ink for me and for my purposes, and fits exactly what I was looking for. I considered other things like Mont Blanc Irish Green, but that one leaned a little bit teal when it gets to the lighter shades, and some others as well. But this one fits perfectly for what I was looking for. So I can highly recommend the Taccia inks. I can recommend this one specifically, but I'm going to try out more of their line. Once again, like some of their artist kind of series ones too, like Sabi Midori is on my list because everybody raves about that one. It's a really interesting color as well. So yeah, I can highly recommend this one. The price for it is really reasonable. I think this was maybe around $12, $15. It was $15 for 40 milliliters of ink, which is super affordable, super reasonable, especially for the quality of ink that it is. I think it's kind of a no-brainer to get a bottle or two. And they got a lot of really good colors, like I said. So highly recommend. If you made it this far and you like these videos, please consider giving this a like and a subscribe. If you want to see more content like this, leave a comment as well. If you let me know some of your favorite green colors, sort of your go-to office green or whatever you use. Or if you have any other questions or comments for me, I try to get back to all of those. So really appreciate you guys and girls watching. And until next time, I'll catch y'all later.